Good morning, good morning, good morning to you. Good morning, good morning, good morning to you. My busted babies. You guys say hi to Natasha.
Hey, busted babies.
She is sitting in on the reading today because we are in our office. And I was going to step out so I could let her work in peace, but she was like, no, I want to hear this reading. So I didn't necessarily, I wanted to wait to do this reading. To my subscriber that asked me to follow up and do the Monique reading, I think your name is Short Musings. Hey, boo. I like that you interact often with me. So hi, Short Musings. I think I'm saying your name right. I probably would have done this reading anyway, but when you asked, I didn't want to do it just yet because it didn't feel like they were done. I knew that there was still going to be some back and forth going on, and I wanted to just wait until it all came out because it would have been me reading things again as they were happening. And even though that's good for me, for showing you guys that I'm on point, it's really pointless to do a reading on something that's going to come out anyways. And so I wanted to wait a little bit until everybody emptied their clips and retreated because everybody's all wounded from battle now. They're throwing shots at each other and they got to go and retreat before whatever next round comes. And now I will step in and hopefully be able to bring some healing energy while I'm conjuring up their energies. I hope that I can speak and impart some healing into this mother-son relationship that needs healing. I want to make sure that I handle and that I was in a good place to do this reading because this is very nuanced. There's no one right or wrong side when it comes to a mother's relationship or bad relationship with her children, because there's usually a lot of generational trauma and generational curses and karma that is involved in what makes the parent be not as effective to their child as their child might be. And a child who's wounded and hasn't clearly healed from those wounds can't look up and be partial and say, well, my mother didn't do the best that she could with me. And even though I can hold her accountable for that, I also understand her conditions. And as an adult, it's my job to free myself. Not saying that's not what her son is doing, Shalon, because it sounds like that's what he's attempting to do. But even when he mentioned that he's happy and he's good and he's whole, he's not, because he wouldn't need to write down what he needs to say so that he doesn't become overwhelmed in his emotions if he was completely healed. And he wouldn't have spoken out when he did and how he did. All I heard between the both of them is hurt and pain. Monique's hurt and pain that she's had for a long time, that she can't really see her way out of. She's hoping to be saved out of. And her son's hurt and pain being the bearer of our parents' karma. So I want to make sure that I handle this responsibly. So that being said, I almost brought my bell, but I put it back. And let me just get a second to get myself together, because this reading is, you know, it's a heavy one. All right. All right. I am going to call up Shalon and do this reading from his perspective, since he's the one who came out first. Boom. Yes, I know Monique may have mentioned him, but he did a whole expose. So he has things to say. So Shalom, Shalom. Monique's son, Shalon. When I close my eyes, I see like tie-dye, waves of something. I don't know, it's weird. It looks like tie-dye. Or when you drop dye into a water and it expands. That's what I see when I close my eyes. Now that just might be like an eye function or something, but Shalom. I see a door. Shalom. Monique's son, Shalom, come. This is a baby, my sweet baby. This is a boy who's still a baby. This is repeated karma, as his mother grew up with her inner child still stuck but ruling her grown-up body. So is Monique's son. Same trauma. Their inner children they're still whatever age they are. Monique's still 15. Her son is still the age that he was when Monique married Daddy and had those twins. That's when everything really changed for him. When those twins came into the picture, I know he said he understood because they require more attention. But even as they got older and didn't require more attention, and he still noticed a difference in how they were being raised, that's when the compassion started dying out and he stopped being able to rationalize his mother's neglect. He's still that same boy, as Monique is still that same girl. Shalom, come speak to me, young man. I don't want to call you sweet baby anymore. That's how you entered my energy, but I'm going to call you young man, because that's what you are now. And now your healing is your responsibility. I know that sounds harsh, but it's the harsh truth as adults. Shalom, speak to me about your mother, Monique. First of all, why did you choose this moment to speak out about her? Why did you choose to do it online? Why did you choose to do it after her tour with Cat Williams, her shows with Cat Williams? And tell me what is in your heart for your mother. Just as her choosing to do Club Shay Shay was strategic for maximum results, so was his decision to do this expose for maximum results. Like mother, like son. They're one and the same. They are in a toxic twin flame relationship with each other. Twin flames don't always have to be romantic. They are in a twin flame relationship with each other. Same flame, same flame. One of them needs to separate. One of them needs to extinguish itself. Not extinguish the other flame. One of those flames has to choose to smolder itself in order for there to be any real permanent healing taking place in this relationship with this mother and son. And when I say extinguish the flame, because that's how I see it in the spirit, but in the flesh, it means somebody's going to have to lay down their arms and say, despite who's right or wrong or why I feel like I'm right or wrong, I choose to release everything that happened before and focus on moving forward in a healthy and positive way. That's what needs to happen. Now, how that happens and who that happens with, I don't know. But that's what I got before I start this reading. Shalom. Talk to me about why you chose to do this expose when you did. Talk to me about what's in your spirit and soul for your mother. Talk to me about everything, about your experience with your mother and how it brought you to this point of bringing it all out for public consumption. Queen of Cups, my sweet babies. His mother, this is the energy that she gives to us, my sweet babies. Just so uplifting, so nurturing to us in her, as it is a part of her image. Queen of Cups, I get this often when I read celebrities and women's celebrities. When I'm doing a celebrity reading, this often gives me a woman in the industry because it's a cup. He chose to do it when he did because she just went on this public campaign for the past few years of justice, victimhood, doing the right thing, her standing for her in her truth and for her cause, and doing so in love with compassion and just all I want is love and my sweet baby this, but she doesn't give him that same energy. She doesn't nurture him like she nurtures us. And that's why he chose, while she's on her public campaign, to also bring another element to her image that he felt like is necessary. While she's up there demanding people sympathize with her for the wrongs that were done to her in the industry, he feels like, no, this is not who she is. Let me show the world the real her. One second, guys. All right, sorry about that, guys. I heard a baby in the office and I had to pause and go and he's so yummy gummy. I just want to bite him. I love little gushy yishy babies that are so yummy gummy, like little baby gummy bears. I just want to bite their little legs and their little arms. Yes, I do. I eat the babies. All right, so challenging Monique and her image as, oh, my sweet babies. I'm the auntie. I'm the comedic auntie of the community. The mother is actually the Queen of Swords. Very cold, emotionless, unattached. This is an air sign mother. My mother's an Aquarius. She has 7 planets in Aquarius. This is not my mama. This is my mama. She loves, but it comes out, okay. She loves by acts of service. And I noticed that Monique's son mentioned that Monique also buys gifts or gives him things, and then when he doesn't seem to appreciate it the way she would like him to, she reacts as well. That is her love language. Women, and I'm not going to try to diagnose her because I am not a therapist, but I know that my mother experienced some sexual abuse from a relative in her childhood. So did I. And just like Monique, my mother's love language is acts of service. I never thought that my mother loved me because just like Monique's son, this is the type of nurturing that I need. I needed a Queen of Cups. My mother was the Queen of Swords. She was very cold, very straight to the point, very unattached. But I think that at some way, trauma makes women like that. Women who haven't completely healed from their trauma, it kind of just cemented itself into their DNA, into their persona. Acts of service is their love language because they haven't tapped in to what's in their emotional core yet. Because if they do that, they are going to run into their inner child and all of their unhealed trauma, and they'll get stuck there. They run away. Now, Monique wears the nurturing mother, the compassionate Queen of Cups, as her clothes. But when she takes off her clothes, according to her son, she's cold as ice, unattached. She has no nurturing. Unless it's for daddy, allegedly. Recent past, oh, this boy, his recent past is the Five of Cups. And I would say recent past. I would say his past as it relates to Monique. I think his whole experience with his mother has been traumatizing for him. His whole relationship with his mother has been traumatizing for him. And why? Because once upon a time, it was Monique, it was him, and it was that third cup. Whoever else was emotional for him, his father. But then the twins came in. That's these two cups behind him. And like I said, I heard him in his video rationalize understanding his mother being unavailable to him because she had two new small babies. But I can tell that is where everything changed for him. And he tried to rationalize it because it's the adult thing to do. It's the mature thing to do. But in his heart, he never, ever, ever was okay with seeing the love and attention that those boys got from their mother that he didn't get. They didn't get the mother that he got. And that happens a lot with firstborn children. We usually get the starter parent, the unexperienced parent, the parent who is going directly from their own traumatized inner child to being somebody else's guardian parent. And they have no therapy or experience in between. The firstborn is usually the therapy and the experience for them to learn and get it a little bit more right with the other children. And so that caused enmity between the firstborn and its mother, because the mother doesn't understand the trauma that the firstborn has. And the firstborn feels misunderstood as well and feels a little bit neglected. And the mother doesn't see it that way. The child does. It's a lot of, hold on guys. It's a lot of miscommunications. It's a lot of unhealed trauma. None of this should have been brought to the public. I actually wouldn't have wanted to do this reading. But it'd be wrong for me not to, because it's happening, and I usually read the things that are happening, and I've read some pretty messy stuff. So just because this is a little bit triggering for me, and not really triggering emotionally, because I've moved past where Shalon is. I understand where he is, but I've done the work to get past it. And I actually hope that he sees this video and calls me so that I can help him, because I've been in this boat. I won't even say I'm completely out. I'm just getting out, pulling up to the dock. After travailing these waters, I'm at the dock, getting ready to get off the boat from this experience. The only thing that would benefit them is therapy and healing. Deep healing, but none of them are going to be vulnerable enough to do that at this point. At least Monique's son doesn't feel that way, because he feels like challenging her is that she's the Queen of Swords. She's still cold, unattached, and not willing to give him compassion. He's showing up as this cup while she's a sword. He can't even look at her. He's looking down. She's looking directly at him. almost like she is willing to wage war against her son. But all he needs is his mother. All he needs is his mother. Not daddy, not Monique. He needs his mama, his mother. You need to sweet baby your child. You need to put him on your lap and rock him in your bosoms. That's what he needs. He needs to curl up in fetal position in your lap and bawl and cry and scream and yell. And Monique, you need to do the same thing to your mother, but we know you can't. Your broken relationship with your mother has manifested in this broken relationship with your firstborn son. All this family trauma, this ain't right, and it's not for us. It's not for us, the public, near future. Nothing's going to get better for them anytime soon. Nothing. This has just restarted whatever tension they've had in the past. More tense conversations, more dragging each other through the mud, more harsh words being said, more damage being done. And you want to know why? Because daddy. Not saying that daddy is the reason for the season, but for Shalon, daddy is the reason for the season. He's the one rowing this boat. That's daddy, that's Monique, and that's her child, but it's in reverse. So I'm going to say that because it's in the reverse, daddy being the one to steer this boat for Monique and her son is what's making it better. Daddy shouldn't have been in your response video. That triggered your son and his trauma all over again, Monique. You should have done that a video alone. And it shouldn't have been a video, but since you guys are making your beef public, the only person that should have addressed Shalon was Monique. And daddy had too much to say about a mother and her son's relationship and the nuances. Because that's not your son, daddy. You are uncle daddy to him. And that's weird in itself. To be calling your stepfather uncle while your mama calling him daddy and the kids calling him daddy, but you the only one calling him uncle, that is a mind fuck. It's weird. It reeks of the trauma that Monique experienced in her childhood, the abuses she's experienced. And it's only manifested itself in similar but different scenarios in your own family, Monique, because you never dealt. You just daddied. You didn't deal, you daddied. You didn't deal. You became codependent. While your son is bleeding out. I can feel it. He's bleeding out. And you are too, Monique, but you don't handle that blood well. When you start to feel, you become stone cold. At least with your son. Because acknowledging his feelings will cause you to have to take accountability. And you are still in victim mode. You don't want to take accountability when you still feel like I'm the victim. But lack of accountability as an adult, it don't necessarily get you sympathy. Even with you coming out about Oprah, you got mixed reviews, and initially you got a lot of pushback, Monique, because I think the lack of accountability as an adult, we are no longer a victim of our circumstances when we have the ability to choose different or choose to walk away. Choose not to engage in an industry that's predatory, but you wanted to be a part of it. So you fought tooth and nail. You could have walked away from the industry, picked up a trade, and went somewhere else in your life where it was more peaceful. But you're playing the game, Monique, on your own terms. So you are playing the game. And that's where people got lost in your message. because some accountability would go a long way. And I feel like for you, Monique, accountability messes up your victimhood and your inner child, because you still feel like the things that happened to me were wrong. And they were, Monique. They were. But do you see how not taking responsibility for your own healing has created that same trauma for your sweet baby? The child that made you a mother, he deserves better. Crowning him is what he said. There will be no handout for forgiveness, for compassion. In his mind, there was. When he made his first video, even though he made it in pain, I think he was hoping someplace within him that his mother would turn on a camera with just her and say, Shalon, Shalom, my sweet baby. I am sorry. Publicly, I'm sorry. When that didn't happen, when instead he went on social media, because his phone was blowing up, and they were like, did you see your mom and daddy's response? Did you see your mom and daddy's response? And he saw it. Oh, his heart sank in his chest. First of all, because he saw you sitting next to daddy. And that is the image he's tired of seeing. You sitting underneath. For him, he's tired of seeing you sit underneath daddy. And he knew once he saw, before he pressed play, he knew that there will be no compassion for him from his mother. And that's when he decided, there will be none from me either. He wanted to work things out with his mother. But not when daddy's the one orchestrating things, and he's always orchestrating things. Also, wouldn't be surprised if D.L. Hughley might have possibly approached Shalon and his wife. Or maybe Shalon reached out to D.L. This is Shalon and his wife, though. I think this is D.L. Hughley. This Nine of Pentacles in his advice or current action position is giving very much codependent, very much still wounded. Both of them. Both of them. This means that, Shalon, you and your mother will continue to be on this twin flame journey together, because both of you are still self-destructing in your trauma. Your childhood trauma, her childhood trauma. You guys both are self-destructing in it together. The same. Both of you need therapy. Bad. Now, external to you, Shalon is mommy and her daddy. This is I don't know how you pronounce that medical symbol, but it's a cabeces. I don't know if that's the pronunciation, but that's the word I'm going for. If somebody knows how to pronounce it better, then you know what I'm talking about. But he feels like mommy and her father's relationship is based on his mother's trauma. It's medical. It's medicine for his mother. It's her healing. She's with daddy because without him, she's not okay. Health-wise, emotional health, mental health. She needed Daddy to rescue her from her inner childhood, just like she needed her real biological father, whoever he was, to rescue her from her brother climbing into her bed and taking her essence and her energy. Her mother didn't. The women in her family traumatized her. Where were the men? She had a lesbian auntie, and Monique's grandmother could not acknowledge her daughter because her daughter was a lesbian. I heard Monique talk about it in her Netflix special about seeing her grandmother act like her daughter did not exist because she was a lesbian. Monique's mother acted like what she knew was going on to Monique did not exist. Monique's grandmother was so religious, she couldn't acknowledge her daughter because what would the good church Christian people think if she came around with a lesbian daughter? Monique can't acknowledge her son in his trauma, so he does not exist. Monique needed Daddy to save her. She needed a man to save her from that broken feminine energy in her maternal lineage. Daddy is like medicine for her. She's eternally bonded to him. Now, in this picture, the woman is giving the man her cup, but he doesn't seem to be extending her cup. He seems to be reaching for her cup while she's giving. It makes me feel like Monique gives more in this relationship than Daddy, and he takes more because he knows his position is Monique's savior. And it makes me feel like Monique has to give him all the nurturing so that she can keep him. She's taken on that subservient role to keep him because he's everything to me. He's everything to me. He saved me from myself. He's everything to me. I worship him. And he receives her worship. He receives it. He doesn't worship her back, though. He acknowledges his role in her life. He acknowledges that he is the God in her life. And for him, the love that he gives her is benevolent. Not deserving, not equal, benevolent. But she elevated him to that God status. He accepted it. Hopes and fears for Shalon. Shalon fears that this is going to affect his mental health and his emotional health more than anything else. And it will. It already has. Outcome. Now, I don't know if this is Shalon or Monique having to defend themselves from all the comments. Me thinks that this is Monique having to defend herself from people taking Shalon's side. And they will. Me also thinks this is Shalon having to defend himself from the communications that he's getting from his family unit. People are texting him, in his family. You shouldn't have did that. Da-da-da-da. That same spirit of Monique's family that didn't want them discussing, didn't want Monique discussing what went on in their house. This same spirit. You don't talk about your mother like that. Da-da-da. And this is him standing his ground from his other siblings, the ones who were way more nurtured. They never understand. I used to say that my sisters and my mom would tag team because my sisters didn't understand. They got a different mother than I did. So they didn't understand where I was coming from. That's what Shalon is going to have to be dealing with. None of this is going to be good for him. I know it made you think, Shalon, that blasting your mama and taking her down a notch would make you feel good, and it did. But it was only a temporary high. That pain that you felt before is heightened now because you're re-triggered. And now the world is watching. You shouldn't have done this, Shalom, but hurt people do hurt things. And that's the message for this reading. There is no one person who is right or wrong. Hurt people do hurt things, and hurt people hurt people. My prayers are for this family. Period. You guys have a good day. I'm not clarifying nothing. Have a good day.